Good evening and welcome to another edition of Chris Peplinsky movie blog. Today's discussion will be about the film Paddington 2, the sequel to the beloved Paddington Bear franchise. I guess for those that were curious to know or may not be aware of that, the name Paddington, where the bear gets its name from, you know comes from the Paddington Station in London. And it's kind of funny that Paddington kind of reminds me a lot of the Codaware character in the book as a kid. And in this particular case, for the Paddington sequel, Paddington's now adjusted living, with the Brown family who are, each going through their own, I guess sort of struggles, like, where, Lucy wants to swim, wants to swim in a marathon of sorts. The father, Henry, gets passed up for promotion. In his particular case, a much younger employee, I guess with half of his experience. Judy, ends up getting dumped and, wants to run a newspaper filled with girls after a breakup. And of course, Jonathan, the younger Brown, you know, sibling, deals with his own identity issues and I guess trying to find his own place in the world. And of course, Paddington, wants to do something special for his aunt Lucy, who happens to be turning 100, which is quite old for bear years. So he finds like this pop-up book in an antique shop, run by his friend Samuel Grubler, once again played by Jim Broadbent, who played Horace Slughorn in the Harry Potter films. And it's kind of funny, now that I mentioned that, because it seems like with the Paddington films, they seem to have like a lot of actors from the Harry Potter universe, including Imelda Stanton, who plays Aunt Lucy, and of course Michael Gambon, who plays Uncle Pest, the uncle, who returns in a flashback, which kind of tells about Paddington's origins and how he was discovered as a cub, and of course Jim Broadbent, and of course Brendan, Gleason is introduced as a new character named Knuckles, who Paddington befriends. When Paddington tries to stop a robbery, he ends up getting framed for the crime. And of course, Julie, Walters, who played Molly Weasley in the Harry Potter films, returns as the Browns, you know, housekeeper. So I think it was kind of a cool thing to have, Harry Potter actors work together in the Paddington universe. So I would say in terms of, the Paddington sequel, I mean, what makes it a great movie that Paddington's, even though he's accident prone and clumsy, but he makes up for it in his, good heart and good nature. Who's I guess a lovable bear almost like reminds me of my favorite bear character Yogi Bear as a kid, which happens to remain one of my favorite classics growing up. And of course, it has a lot of charm and humor and the important message, family being together, even though it may seem like he's a misfit because the Browns are human and of course he's a bear, but I guess in its own odd little way it seems to work. So yeah, I'm hoping that they will make more Paddington movies in the future. And I guess for those that saw the first one and liked it, myself included, of course, feel free to share any comments or like to hear what anybody had to say about the movie. And I just want to say thanks for thanks for watching, and of course I look forward to sharing my thoughts for other movies I look forward to discussing. Thank you.